Welcome to the Wise Take DFS podcast. I am your host, CK013. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013, and I'm joined once again by one of Wise Take's finest DFS analysts, Mr. KamG333. You can find him on Twitter at KamG333. Cam, my man, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. I was actually watching NBA, a little Boston Philly action there. Tonight for baseball is just boring as shit. Like, so bad. And there seemed like nothing was going on. I played it a little riskier tonight. I liked Porcello, I liked Alex Wood, and I liked Pivetta, and I ended up paying down at pitcher to pay up for bats, and Pivetta actually pitched pretty well, and then my bats just did absolutely nothing. Like, Moustakas had a 0, Machado had a 0, JD BVP like 7 for 12, 3 home runs, 2 doubles off. Tanaka 2% owned, and I was excited when the slate first started, and then it slowly got worse every inning that passed. So just not a good night. I feel like the slate sucked in general, but not many home runs either. Like, not really anything going on. But hopefully tomorrow will be better.
Yeah, I think so, man. It was a very boring kind of slate. I kind of had that feeling. I didn't play any cash games in the night slate. I actually played cash in the early slate, which looked even uglier, but it looked like clear options to me. I felt a little more confident in some of the chalkier plays like the Cubs. So I didn't play any cash in the late slate because of that. Right? It seemed kind of this slate. This kind of seemed wacky. Whenever Baltimore and Kansas City are going to be like the chalk, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's always we're in for a rough night. So.
Right.
I'm with you. It was an ugly slate. We'll see. I'm hoping I could break even. I got a lot of Corbin, so we'll see what happens with him. But yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm looking forward to the next slate. It's Thursday, and like you told me before the show, Thursday there's normally not a lot of games. There's not a ton of games, but there's just enough. I think I could have done without 1 or 2 of these, but we got 9 games, Cam. Right? We got 9 games.
Yeah.
Not so bad, not so great, but not so bad. But we like to be optimistic and positive here, so we're going to say we're going to lean more towards the not-so-bad side. We've got some interesting pitching options. I did take a peek at the DraftKings pricing just a little bit, and I can tell you that Miles Mikolas is over 10K against the Padres tomorrow. Thought that was interesting. Curious to hear what you have to say on that. But we will get there later. In the meantime, let's go ahead and start with this first one, which is Ian Kennedy of the Kansas City Royals visiting Chris Tillman of the Baltimore Orioles. Total here is 9.5. Baltimore a plus 105 home underdog. Baltimore, just no matter like what the matchup is, they just suck. Right? Like, they're just What you got here?
Like, why does Vegas give them run totals over like 3 right now? They're absolutely garbage. I can't play any of these Baltimore bats until they do something. I played them tonight just against that lefty who doesn't really strike out anyone. Like, I like Jones a little bit. Machado I thought was a really good play. He didn't do anything. Shope versus a lefty was a good play in my opinion, and I think they all got like a hit or 2, but didn't really do a whole lot. So in terms of upside, like, it's still not there. Going up against Ian Kennedy, like, he has given up hard contact versus both sides this year to start the year here, but just the way that Baltimore has been pitching, I think this is like probably a pretty good spot for him. Has showed upside games here. His last game, and then he's had a couple good starts as well. They've shown that he can go the distance as well with like a pitch count of 104, 106, and 103 so far this year. So just like the matchup with Baltimore, I think he would be like a riskier kind of like GPP option, just because once again it is Baltimore. Like they're very disappointing so far this year. So not comfortable with it, especially in Camden Yards. But it is what it is. Like gotta just keep picking on Baltimore. On the other side, like this Royals team, they just put up like 15 on Bundy yesterday, and then come out and put up a 3 versus what's his name, Andrew Kashner. So kind of up and down as well. It's kind of expected with this team. I mean, they're not like a super talented offense by any means. They have a couple guys who can hit for power, and I think just on that game, it just happened where they all kind of smoke the ball all at the same time. But Chris Tillman, we always talk about it, just like one of the worst pitchers in the MLB. So if you want to go with like Moustakas here, he's probably the more elite option. And then like Soler, Duda, I think is probably going to have positive regression coming. He homered again, or he homered tonight. I think he should have, the way he's been hitting, he should have more home runs than he actually has on the season. So I would expect him to probably get going here in a positive ballpark as well at Camden Yards. So I think like the main 2 targets would be Duda and Moustakas, but don't mind like a Soler, and Sal Perez has been hitting the ball hard as well. And then maybe like a Whit Merrifield or Alex Gordon to round out like a full Kansas City stack.
Yeah, I think with 9 games on the slate, even though we have 2 bad pitchers here, I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of people kind of pass. I mean, I don't know for sure. I got to see if there's any other gas cans on the slate, but if there is, we could try to go back here, just from a game theory aspect of this was the chalk today, and it busted, and I think people kind of, that's the kind of chalk, like when the Orioles and Royals are chalk and you play them and lose, like that's when you feel real dumb. You know what I mean? It's one thing if you take the Cubs or you take the Yankees or some other chalk like that and they bust, like you don't feel dumb. You're just like, oh, it just didn't work. But like when you stack a team that you know is not good and you know is not good chalk and they bust, you just feel like it's the worst feeling. It really is. So it's possible, even though we have some gas cans, the ownership is a little less. We do have 9 games, but it depends. We'd have to have some other gas cans on the slate, and I don't know if we do, but we'll find out. We do have cores, so that should immediately take away some ownership from these guys. Next game, we got Eduardo Rodriguez of Cash and DFS's Boston Red Sox visiting CC Sabathia of Paulie D's New York Yankees. About 70 degrees, 66% humidity. Total here is 9. The Yankees are minus 140. Home favorites. What you think, Cam?
Yeah, I mean, CC's not a guy that I usually stack against here, but I do have interest in Boston, just in like a smaller park. So looking at like Betts, Hanley, JD, Bogarts, probably main targets here for me. Not really in love with like a Boston stack. I just don't usually stack against CC. I respect him in terms of being able to limit damage, but wouldn't be surprised if he gives up 1 or 2 home runs, which kind of gives me interest in some of these Boston bets here. So just target the power for me. And then going on the other side, like Eduardo Rodriguez, not going to pitch him against the Yankees, that's for sure. Stanton is going to be like probably a top priority target for outfield. Top pays tomorrow, just throughout his whole career, mashes lefties, and that's continued throughout the year. No matter what slump he's in, if he's like 0 for 20 versus righties going into a matchup versus a lefty, he can come in and hit 2 home runs. So tomorrow, just plug in Stanton versus a lefty at Yankee Stadium with the wind blowing out to left. That's a good spot for him. Also, maybe like a Judge and a Sanchez as like secondary targets for the most part, but I don't really like first look here. I don't think I would really full stack any of these teams as well. Mostly just try and pick off a couple of these home runs here, because I think there are probably a couple of home runs that you can get here, but not really like full stacks for me.
Yeah, I think Erod's price on DraftKings is definitely interesting. It's only he's only 6'7", and we just paid a premium on him against like Texas and some other team. The issue I have is, like you said, he's pitching in Yankee Stadium. There's a lot of lefty matches there between most, obviously Stanton, but also gave you the GOAT, Aaron Judge. And this is a small park, and he's always been a fly ball pitcher. So I do think he's viable to give up a few home runs. With that said, I also think there could be some upside built into his price at 6.7. It's not like we need a full 20 from him there, but we still know that it's possible. So I will say that I do think that he gives up a few home runs. This could get really ugly for him if he walks a few guys and then he gives up those home runs. It can get really ugly really quick. But I will say he's got K upside. His price is interesting. But I'm with you, Cam. I don't necessarily want to pick on these pitchers, but at the same time, I don't know if I want to do a full stack against them either. I think I'd rather just pick like 2 or 3 guys that I think are going to go yard and kind of take it from there. More so on the Yankees side also, right? Like CC. CC's like the opposite. He's like not a huge K dude, but at the same time, he gets a lot of ground balls. Whereas Erod is like a K guy, but he gives up a lot of fly balls, Got to lean towards the Yankees bats. They've been pretty hot.
Yeah, definitely.
On to the next, we got Mike Leake of the Seattle Mariners visiting J.A. Happ of the Toronto Blue Jays. Total here is 9. Toronto a -150. Home favorite. What you got here, Cam?
Yeah, so, I mean, here, obviously, you can start by targeting Mike Leake. Toronto at home. It's a good spot for them. Not sure how popular they'll be on a 9-game slate. I would expect them to probably have some ownership here, but just against League, I would definitely look at some of these bats. Donaldson was a guy today who was only on my radar just because of his BVP versus the pitcher that he was going up against, but a lot of like the stuff that I look into before I determine if I'm going to play a player or not doesn't really look good. Play a player, yeah. Doesn't really look good right now for him. So, like, he's going to be a full fade for me on every slate until he gets it going again. So, I'm not going to be playing Donaldson. Do have a lot of interest in, like, Smoke and Teoscar Hernandez. And then Curtis Granderson's coming back from injury. That's nice. I'll have to take a look at him as well. And then, yeah, probably those, like, 3 guys from the main side. I like targeting Kendrys Morales when he's batting righty instead of lefty, so not a lot of interest there. And Pilar has been hitting well, like batted ball stats, so I don't mind like those 4 guys for Baltimore, but just doesn't look too appealing right now. I'll have to see what else is on the slate as we get going. Happ, on the other hand, pitching at home against Seattle, like, I don't know. I haven't had luck with Seattle this year when I stack them. Obviously, like Cruz versus a lefty, you could play. He's had good numbers in the past versus Happ. 22 for 10, 10 for 22. I'm an idiot. 10 for 22, 2 doubles, triple. So batting .455. In 22 at bats, pretty decent history there versus him. Some of these other guys, Haniger, Segura, just not like the best matchup for Happ here. I don't really like targeting pitchers versus Seattle. They don't strike out a whole ton, and they just have like a good overall like lineup that kind of makes it tough to navigate all the way through for consistently for like 6-7 innings. So just not a team I really like to target with pitchers. Although Happ's been pretty good this year, I don't think I'm going to get there unless if we're really scraping by for options on this slate.
Yeah, no, I agree. I do think J. Happ is definitely in play just because of his history against Seattle. I know that Nelson Cruz has kind of owned him over the course of his career, but if you look at some of the numbers he put up on DraftKings over the last 2 years, he's pitched pretty well against them. He hasn't had a bad outing against them. Happ did finally have a bad game, which could be like we know at some point he's got to go through that period where he's like struggling for a little while. So I'm a little worried. You never know. This is the first bad game of the year. Could be the one. My problem with Happ is more so his price on DraftKings at 11K. Kind of like it takes the upside out a little bit. He's a guy that typically does get his pitch count up a little bit, and when he goes 7 innings, you're thrilled. So a little concerned. I think he's I'm sure he'll do okay. I think he'll do fine, but I just don't know how much upside we have in that 11K price tag. I don't know if he's a guy that can really go for 30 plus.
That's way too high.
Right. So like if he was still in the 8s or even in the 9s, I would gladly take the 22 or 23 or 24 that he might put up. But at 11K, I'm going to want to do more than that. I'm not sure he can do it. So I think Hap's okay. I just don't love that price on DraftKings. Toronto obviously is fine. And Nelson Cruz definitely a nice little one-off option. I mean, Seattle does have a lot of these lefty matchers, but seems like some of them are having a hard time getting going at the same time. Like it seems like one guy will pop, and then the other two kind of dud. Like even today, I mean, they had Manny Garcia. You know what I mean? And
that's
kind of disappointing. But yeah, I think the Blue Jays offense is definitely in play. I think Hap is fine. Just don't love that 11K price tag. Michael Fultonowitz or Fultonowitz, I don't know why that throws me off every time. Of the Atlanta Braves, visiting Caleb Smith, the lefty from the Miami Marlins. Total here is 8. Miami is a plus 110 home underdog. What you got, Cammy?
There's not like a whole lot of offense so far in the 4 games that we've gone through that I'm really in love with here.
Coors is going to be mega popular.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. That's interesting as well. I don't like that game really, first look. So Caleb Smith, I'm not going to be in love with like the Braves tomorrow. I respect Caleb Smith as a pitcher and what he's done so far. A lot of these Miami pitchers too, like pitching in Miami is definitely a big boost for them. One of the best pitchers ballparks there is. And this Caleb Smith kid is just like been really good so far. And I believe he's like a pretty good, has like a high pedigree as a prospect. So, I'm not really going to be looking to pick on him all that much. I think you could maybe try and pick off like an Acuna or Albies here, try and target that in like that way, but not really going to go like all in on these Braves bats against Caleb Smith. I just have respect for him in a big ballpark. And then on the other hand, like Fulte versus the Marlins is interesting. He was touching like, I'm pretty sure Fulte was touching like almost 100 in his last start. I was watching the game and I was like, I did not know he threw that hard. But nonetheless, he got hit hard. 9 hits, 6 runs, 6 earned. So I mean, this is a pretty good spot for him though versus Miami in a big ballpark, on the road, getting away from Atlanta. He's going to be a guy I'm going to have to look into more tomorrow as I research to kind of get a feel for how I feel about him. But just like at first look, I'm a little interested in him at 7.5 on DraftKings, just in this spot
FanDuel?
in this ballpark.
You said 7?
Yeah.
Okay. He's 9.5 on DraftKings.
Okay, yeah, 7.5 on FanDuel. I have interest in him in this,
cheap. That's
matchup.
Terrible that he's 7.5 in this matchup. Seriously, I mean, you remember that last year? I mean, it was a different Marlins team, a better Marlins team, you could say. And he struck out like 11 dudes in 6 innings out of nowhere. It's like, they didn't even strike out a lot last year, the Marlins. Last year,
yeah, I could see that happening again. Like, that's why I have a little interest in him tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
In a big ballpark, too.
So far, I think he's my favorite pitcher that we've talked about.
I agree.
Based on price, I mean, you're getting a great deal on FanDuel. On DraftKings at 9.5, like the price, I think it's pretty accurate, but I still think there's a little bit of upside left in that price. I think this guy has the same kind of upside to me as J.A. Happ. The difference is he's significantly cheaper. I'm getting the $1,500 discount, so I feel like there's more room for the upside. If Happ gives me the 25 at 11K, I'm okay with that, but I'm not thrilled. If Fulte gives me a 25 at 9.5, I could work with that. You know what I mean? Like I could work with that because I was probably
and the matchup's better for him too.
And the matchup's better.
Better ballpark.
Agreed. I do like Fulte. Caleb Smith is interesting, man. I really like this dude. I play him pretty much every day he's on the slate, but I don't like picking on the Braves. But at the same time, like this kid is good and he's only 7.3, so that's the one I'm gonna have to think on and sleep on. Maybe dive in tomorrow. There are some concerns with him. Obviously, when he's in Miami, you're not as worried. He is a big-time fly ball guy. It's a little worrisome. His hard contact rate is kind of up. But he's just pitching so great. And he's, like you said, Cam, he's pitching in Miami. He's got the ballpark, behind him. It's
yeah, he's interesting tomorrow too. Like, I feel like the Braves haven't been hitting as well recently here.
It's really only been a couple. Really, Markakis is like the only one that's been,
Right. I think Freeman's a little cold. And then like Albies and Acuna kind of spot a couple hits here and there, but like nothing to be really afraid of. And then looking at like the bottom of the lineup, I mean, Bautista, Flowers, Camargo, and Ciarte, like he should be able to handle those guys. And taking the ballpark into consideration, like he should be fine here. Like it depends on what we see. It depends on what we see like going forward with the rest of these games and everything. But so far, like I think these two pitchers are probably the two highest I would have graded out so far.
Yeah, I mean, if you were going to target the Braves, wouldn't it be at a stadium like this? Like,
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree, man. I think it's interesting. If Caleb Smith was like expensive, then obviously like there's no need to risk it. But because he is cheap, I mean that's a nice little pairing right there, the Folty Caleb Smith deal. So we'll see. I don't know, but I agree with you. So far, these are my two. These are probably the two best pitchers that I like so far. We're only 4 games in, so we got more to go. But I'm with you. I do like those pitchers. Let's talk about your boys, Cam. João Chacin of Cam's Milwaukee Brewers visiting German Marquez of the Colorado Rockies, of course, field. Total here is 11.5. Colorado A-155. Home favorite. It's going to be about 82 degrees, 16% humidity out in Coors Field. Cam, what you got here? Talk to me about your boys in Coors. You're going to homer out, aren't you? You're going to totally homer out.
Oh, hell no.
Brewer stacks all day, isn't it? I know it's coming.
No.
You're pitching Chacin too, aren't you? You're stacking the Brewers with Chacin, aren't you, Cam?
No, I can't stand the Brewers right now, dude. They piss me off. Did you see they like K'd like 17 times or 16 times today versus Carrasco?
Man, don't talk to me.
Yeah.
My team just batted out of order today to start off a game. All right, so
I saw that. I had some
Mets. We're venting about teams. I get it, but I have some rage.
I had some Mets exposure in the early slate, and I saw like a Struble hit like a double or something, and then like it got taken away or something, and then I looked on Twitter and like someone said that they batted out of order. I'm like, how do you do that? That is so bad.
Yeah. So if anybody got some frustration about their team, I think it's just Met fans. Not to mention we just lost. I think we just lost series to the Reds. I think we lost the series. But.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, Sal Romano like K'd like 9 or 10 today.
That's the third good game he has pitched against the Mets in his career. The third good game. He's a Met killer.
He should have texted me this morning and said like, "Hey, pitch Sal Romano." I saw this guy. He was like 0.3% owned in my tournament, and the guy who had him took first.
I should have told you that was my bad.
What the hell, man? But this Coors game so far, yeah, like you were saying, this is gonna be popular from like both ends. I think stack standpoint, these are the two teams where I would want to like have full stacks of out of all the other games that we've gone through. It kind of sucks because that's not a hot take by any means, but it is what it is. Definitely favor the Rockies though here over the Brewers. Like I don't hate Marquez as a pitcher. Like he's had good games at Coors as well. Obviously can always get blown up here, but I've played him a couple times throughout the like last year, and not this year but last year I pitched him at Coors and he did fine a couple times. Like I don't mind him against like a struggling Brewers team. What's his price on DraftKings?
5.4.
5.4. 5.4 is interesting. I don't think anyone will pitch him, and that's super cheap. On FanDuel, I'm not going to go there at 6.7. I don't think there's any need to go there, but we just saw this team. Obviously, Marquez isn't like anywhere near the Indians pitchers, but like I feel like the Brewers have just been struggling for like ever. They seem to never like have everything going at all cylinders. Like one guy's hot and the rest of the team's cold, and it just always seems to be happening. So right now I think like Domingo Santana's the guy who's hitting the ball well, and everyone else is kind of sucking. But like full stacks for both teams are good. But for me, I would favor the Rockies, Blackman, Arenado, Carlos Gonzalez, Para, Story, like all of them pretty much here. I like, but just like the main guys that I just mentioned for Colorado, I don't really like the Brewers tomorrow, but I wouldn't be against it if you stacked them.
Yeah, it was nice and casual. Like, you know, I don't like them, but like if you like them, I mean, you know, it's whatever. I mean, if you
Dude, I'm such like an
like
anti.
them, it's like no, I know you are.
I'm
Cam.
such an anti-homer.
That's the reason I like to mess with you, because you are an anti-homer. So I like to have some fun.
I get set all my teams like the Packers and the Brewers and Badgers. I just get pissed off. Like the Badgers every year go to the Big Ten championship, lose to Ohio State every single year.
Why do I against them every year?
Why do I the game? I just get jacked. We're undefeated. Like I get blown up by 40 like every year.
Oh man, life is hard, huh? Life is tough for Cam, man. No, man, I'm with you though. I think I lean definitely more towards the Rockies side, both from the pitching and hitting standpoint. Jamar Marquez at 5-4 on DraftKings and SP2 is interesting. The Brewers have been struggling. We saw that they did strike out a lot against Carrasco. I'm not comparing Marquez to Carrasco, but we have seen Marquez's swinging strike rate a little elevated this year. Also seen his strikeout rate go up with it. So I do think it's interesting. He's had some decent games against the Brewers over the last 2 years, going back to 2016. I think he's played them in cores. 2016 and 2017, he put up an 18.7 on DraftKings, went 6 innings, gave up 2 earned runs, got 7 strikeouts. And then even last year, same thing. He was at home against these guys, 15.95, 5 2/3, 6 strikeouts, 4 earned runs. So he still got it done. And at 5-4, he's at that price where if he gives you either one of those scores, he did pretty damn well for you. So I do think on DraftKings that is viable.
And then to pair it, like you're fading the Brewers, who will have like high ownership, so it's like a leverage
play off of the Brewers, who should be popular, especially with the lack of hitting options that we've gotten so far. So yeah, I agree, Cam. I think that I'm okay with attacking Shazi. I don't want to go too crazy. He does get a lot of ground balls. Let's be real about the guy. As much as we love to attack him, there's situations where he can bust people. So he's
a sinker baller though, isn't he?
Oh, is he?
I believe so. I think he's a guy that throws like a splitter or a sinker or something like that. So I'm sure he's going to be one of those guys that struggles. I don't have like Fantasy Cruncher up right now, so I can't see his history on like hidden Coors or anything, but I think he throws like a splitter. Let me look it up quick while you're talking.
I got it right here, and it looks like he throws fastball, sliders. That's basically it. He throws 54% fastballs and almost 39% sliders. That's his deal.
Damn, I thought he threw like maybe I'm thinking of Guerra and Chacin. I don't know. I feel like maybe I get those guys mixed up, but I thought he threw like this. I thought he threw like a sinker.
I didn't even realize that Chacin started with the Rockies organization.
Does he? Did he?
He started there, yeah. He was there from 2006 in the minor leagues through 2014. That was his last season. Revenge. Yeah. Either way, I still think the Rockies are okay, and I think Marquez is interesting in tournaments. On to the next camp. We got Tanner Roark of the Washington Nationals visiting Zach Greinke of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Don't see a total or a spread, I guess, because they weren't sure who the pitcher was, but the source that I trust shows me that Zach Greinke is pitching tomorrow in Arizona, and the roof is supposed to be closed. Cam, what you got here?
Yeah, I just looked on Fangraphs. Chacin looks like he throws a slider, a four-seamer, and a sinker.
Oh, he does throw
kind of variation. Yeah.
Interesting.
So he could struggle tomorrow.
Oh, okay. My bad. You're right. 33%. Okay, they had it merged with it. I was looking at his fastball, and the sinker is considered a fastball. You're right. You are correct.
Yeah, that happens. It's like a subcategory.
He throws a lot of sinkers. Good call, Cam.
That's
why you're here, Cam. That's why Cam.
You made me feel like a dummy because I was like, I swear to God, I watched the games and he was throwing something like that.
That's all part of it. That's all part of it, man. You know,
you're just keeping me on my toes.
I gotta keep you ready. I gotta keep you ready. This is part of like some serious training regiment from when you are a doctor one day. Like this, this is how you handle it. You know. I gotta dig into it. I just can't dig in. You gotta dig in. You can't just accept an answer. You don't know. You need to verify everything. Trust no one, Cam.
Yeah, exactly.
Trust no one.
So this game, what are we talking about? Arizona Nationals.
Yes.
Oh, Greinke. Okay.
Real quick, Cam, before you do that, let's just clear it up as to why it matters that he throws a sinker. The sinker is less effective in course, right?
Yep. Okay. Yeah. So continue. less movement on that equals him gonna get crushed.
Yes. Yes, very simple equation. If Cam had a chalkboard, that's what it would say. It's like, it's exactly.
I can draw it out later for you guys.
He'll put it in his cheat
sheet. Pretty easy. Yeah, exactly. That'll be in the notes part. But yeah, so here for this game in Arizona, I think Joe's going to that on Saturday. I think he's going to be in Arizona for the Nationals game when they play the Diamondbacks, so that'll be cool. But tomorrow, Greinke, I think he's a viable option at home versus the Nationals. I know they've been really hot, but Greinke's been decent this year, and I believe he pitches better at home. So it's an interesting spot. I don't love it just because of how like Matt Adams and Harper, like the power upside here at Chase Field or whatever the new name is now. But yeah, it's an okay spot here. I think so far what we've been looking at for pitching wise, like you have to at least put Greinke on your short list at first look, just because of the other lack of options. I think like Harper and Matt Adams are going to be like the top targets here, the obvious ones for the Nationals. Wouldn't hate like a Rendon or a Zimmerman either here to kind of pair out if you're stacking, and then like a Trey Turner as well is always in play for me because he just has those games where he goes off stolen base upside as well. So I think both sides of the plate here are in play. Greinke more of like a tournament option at pitcher, not really like a cash game option. On the other hand, Rourke versus Arizona. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to pitch Rourke tomorrow versus Arizona. I don't know. I just don't like this team that hasn't been hitting all that well, but I just don't really feel comfortable targeting them. I'd be looking at like a Peralta, Del Scalzo to start it off, but Goldschmidt, Pollock's been red hot, and then Steven Suazo's coming back, 2.3K on FanDuel. It's a pretty good value play right now because his price will probably just continuously creep up until he gets to like the mid threes. So reverse splits guy as well, so I don't mind him there for like a cheaper option, but once again, like don't really love like anything in these spots.
Oh yeah, his price is creeping. I am with you. I think Greinke is obviously an interesting option, somewhat safe. You have some. I mean, Adams and Harper were rested today. Those guys have got to be the two hottest hitters in baseball right now. Obviously, it seems nice to get those guys in chase right now, but it's Zach Greinke. I got respect for this guy, so. I think the Nats are okay as a contrarian stack. Don't expect a lot of people to play it, despite the fact that it is a good hitting environment. Obviously, Trey Turner is better against righties. Zimmerman, some of these other guys, Rendon, all these guys can hit righties. The Nats are a better team against righties, so I think they're interesting from like a donkey standpoint. But I also think that Greinke is a high upside play here. So I got to dig in and see where I stand. But I think Greinke at 10-2 is interesting. It's attractive. At the same time, knowing that we can get these Nationals bats in a nice hitting environment when there's a slate without a ton of hitting options that we like, it's worth consideration, especially when they do have Bryce Harper on their team. So, okay with the Nats, okay with Greinke. As far as Rourke, no thank you, can't stand that guy. I think there is a world, I think his price is okay. There's a world at 7-4 DraftKings. There's a world where he goes out there and pitches well. I just think that there'll be other guys I can use instead of him because he obviously has some big blow-up potential. When it goes bad for him, it goes really bad. And he's been struggling pitching in his ballpark. I do not really want a chance pitching him in this one. So,
I would use those guys from like the Marlins Braves game 10 times out of 10 over him in this spot.
Agreed. So I think Peralta, before, he's been out a couple times, he was pretty damn hot. AJ Pollock, one of the hottest hitters in the league. Souza, like you said, we've been waiting for him to get going. He is a reverse splits guy. Maybe it happens here against a righty. And eventually Paul Goldschmidt's going to wake up. He's way too cheap. Paul Goldschmidt is 4-2 on DraftKings, man. 4-2 on DraftKings. What is he on FanDuel?
Yeah, he's 4K on FanDuel.
Criminal. Paul Goldschmidt, man. Don't get me wrong. He's been bad. I'll admit that. But it's going to turn around. And when it does, it's going to be glorious.
Yeah, he's a guy too, like at the beginning of the year, he was like smoking the ball, but his BABIP was like close to like 100. So it'll even out for him eventually. Like he's too good for that.
He's too damn good. Too damn good.
Yeah.
Next up, we got Jose Barrios of the Minnesota Twins visiting Garrett Richards of the Los Angeles Angels. Temperature is about 62 degrees. Humidity about 76%. Total here is 8. And the Angels are minus 147 home favorites. What you think, Cam?
Yeah. This is a spot, I think, where you can look at the pitchers. So far from what I've seen, pitching-wise, these two guys kind of look like better options as well. In my opinion, I think I would favor... I don't know who I'd favor here. I like both of them, kind of. I think from when it comes to like a safety standpoint, I think Richards is like a guy who might be more safe going up against the Twins here. I don't absolutely love like the attacking the Twins, but I think he would be okay. And then on the other hand, like Barrios, like I do like him against the Angels. It's not the best matchup, but at the same time, like I've been talking to you about this a couple times. Like it seems like a lot of the good high pitching performances so far that have happened this year have come where there is like a lot of risk or at least some risk in the matchup. Just with how like baseball is nowadays, it's power comes with like strikeout ability and vice versa, or like lack of power kind of comes with a team that doesn't really hit for power but makes contact, like weaker contact. So I think nowadays in DFS you're going to have to take pitching options that are going to make you uncomfortable, just knowing that the strikeout upside is going to be there, and like on a given day they can perform really well. So Barrios at 8-1 on FanDuel is really intriguing with that guy's kind of upside in a bigger ballpark. Does he? I forget what his home road splits are. He pitches better
at home.
Does he pitch better at home or on the road?
He pitches better at home, but I see what you're saying, and I think I'm with you. It's like kind of like a price thing. Plus, Patio Joe is.
What's he on draft?
He's 7-8, dude. He's 7-8 on DraftKings.
Oh yeah. We're gonna have to take a shot on him tomorrow.
We're gonna have to take a shot. Patio Joe's texting me right now also, in all caps.
He'll just text me Coors Effect.
Text. Okay, you too.
Yeah.
Keep going, Cam. Keep going.
Yeah, so I mean, that's even I already had interest in Barrios to begin with, and then that's right, the Angels coming back from Coors, so the Coors Effect. I think we're 2-0 with the Coors Effect so far this year. So Barrios probably bumps me up number 1 on pitching so far this year, followed by on the slate, followed by like Fulte and Caleb Smith. I think there's really good upside, especially for an 8-1 price tag on FanDuel in this ballpark. Obviously his home road splits aren't great, but I do like this spot for him. Also like the spot for Richards. So for the most part here, I'll stay away from the bats and probably go with both these pitchers.
Yeah, man. I'm with you. I think both pitchers are interesting. Berrios is the one that immediately caught my eye, and it's because of his price. He's 7.8. I think there's some value there. I know it's the Angels, but like Patio Joe is texting us, we do know that teams, seems to be somewhat of a Coors effect. When teams come their first game out of Coors, they're typically a little sluggish. Obviously, the air density is a little bit different, so we've seen teams kind of struggle. We did see like a team like the Braves. Now, Max Scherzer's having a phenomenal year, so I don't want to discredit what he's done at all this year. But we did see the Braves are a team that he typically has a problem striking out. He gets a decent amount of strikeouts, but not a Scherzer-esque big-time game. The Braves' first game out of Coors was against Washington this year, and Scherzer went out there and did what Scherzer does to everybody else, which doing it to the Braves was a little odd. So, yeah, like you said, I think we're like 2-0 so far in these situations, targeting decent pitchers against teams coming out of Coors. So, yeah, I think Berrios is the first guy that caught my eye at 7.8. I know he's been struggling. I know he's got bad road splits, but his price is just too cheap. There's too much upside there to pass up on. You going to say so?
Yeah, I think it was like I think Scherzer versus Atlanta, and then Stratton versus the Padres, I think was like he put up like a 45 or something on FanDuel.
There it is.
So it's worked out good.
It's that 2-0
so far, so why not just keep rolling with it, especially on a slate where there's kind of really bad pitching options.
Rolling in like, that thing. Boy.
Ooh, never mind. This next option's pretty good too. It's gonna make it tough.
All right.
It's gonna make it tough to. I'll have to make multiple lineups tomorrow again.
Yes, you will. I will say with Garrett Richards, he's had good games and he's had some bad games. I will say that I think his 11.6% swinging strike rate is interesting. He's got an 11.8 K per nine. Problem is he's walking a ton of dudes. He's got a 5.24 walks per nine, 5.24 walks per nine. It's just a little nerve-wracking to pay $8.9 for, but he does have a big-ass ballpark, so I sort of get it. But I definitely think that I lean towards Berrios at 7.8 on DraftKings. I really, really like that price.
Yeah.
On to the next. We are going to talk about Miles Mikolas of the St. Louis Cardinals visiting Jordan Lyles of the San Diego Padres. Total here, 7.5. Oh, no. Yeah, 7.5. San Diego is a plus 135 home underdog. It's going to be about 61 degrees, 83% humidity out in San Diego. What you got, Cam?
Yeah, so Mikolas is only 8.5 on FanDuel.
Oh my God, this price on DraftKings is literally ridiculous.
What'd you say it was?
10-2.
Okay, I feel like DraftKings has been. FanDuel seems to be like pricing more based on just like the player and not like slate dependent, and it seems like DraftKings is like pricing up guys for like the slate. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like Corbin was like 13.3 or something
like
today.
Doing it on a position scarcity thing. Like maybe Corbin would have only been 11 if Scherzer was on the slate, but because I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. But at the same time, like on DraftKings 10K, he's pitched really well this year, going up against a Padres team like in San Diego. Like this is probably one of the best spots for him. It is going to be the best spot for him this year, and he's already pitched very well. So I think he's worth that price on DraftKings, and then on FanDuel at 8.5, it's even better for him there. So I'll have a lot of interest in Mikolas tomorrow. Probably would have him rated 1, Berrios 2, and then we'll have to dig into that Atlanta game a little bit more. But yeah, I like Mikolas tomorrow. Don't really see how you couldn't going up against Padres in San Diego, and just like the form he's been in pitching. On the other side, Jordan Lyles, has he pitched this year? Looks like a bullpen guy. So this is going to be a bullpen game for San Diego. I don't even know how long this guy will go. He's pitched a max of 2 innings out of the bullpen so far this year. I'll have to look into him. I don't really know a whole lot about him.
He used to be a starter for I think he was on the Rockies. He was one of their lefties, obviously one of the ones they got rid of, but he used to be a star. It looks like he didn't start last year either, but at one point when he first came into the league, I thought he was a starter. I guess it didn't work out.
Yeah, it throws me for a loop when these teams switch their starting pitchers because, like, usually I know everything about them because I, like, research them every fourth or fifth day, and then, like, all of a sudden you get, like, a random dude coming out here, and it throws me off. But I don't know. I'll have to look into him more. But at first glance, too, like, I don't know how much, even if I look at it and he's, like, just okay, I don't know how much I'll really like the Cardinals in this spot in San Diego. Like, I don't know. I don't love it. Like, they're fine, but I don't think I'll really go there. I just don't get excited about playing the Cardinals really all too often.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm not big on the Cardinals in this spot. They haven't been hitting the ball so well as is. Their best hitter is Tommy Pham, is constantly injured. He's coming in and out of games. Don't like it. Lyles at 4.2. I'll look it up. Probably not, but I'll take a look at it because it is 4.2. So if there's like an expensive ass pitcher I want, like if I was gonna play a Mikolas, you could pair him with Jordan Lyles at 4.2. It's interesting. Mikolas is definitely in play. I don't like the price. I'm a little concerned that they're maximizing his upside at this point. I kind of need the Cardinals to. I need Mikolas to go really, really deep, and to his credit, that's something he's done. But this is a really steep price tag on DraftKings. Like, I feel like his ceiling here is a 2x, and I'd like to be able to get a 3x if I'm paying that much money for a pitcher. So I think he's okay. I think he's safe. I think he's got a nice floor. I think he's got enough upside to pay that off, and a little over 2x, maybe 2.5x. But I think Folty has more K upside for a cheaper price. So I will play some Mikolas, but I don't know. I don't want to say for sure that I will. It's like a buy low, sell high thing. I feel like his stock is super high right now, so I don't feel like there's a ton of value in me getting in on this now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
on FanDuel though, I think he's definitely viable at 8.5. You said?
Yeah, 8.5.
8.5 against the Padres, I think is a phenomenal price. 10-2 against the Padres, it's okay, but it worries me a little.
The thing that sucks, like, I ran into this with, like, NBA and everything, too. Like, a lot of these guys who are newer that start out the season, like, they're always priced really low, and then they end up just being, like, a good player throughout the year. And it's hard to get over that hump to, like, pay when you start playing the guy and he's, like, 6K, and he performs well and performs well again, and then he's like 7.6, and then he's 8, and then all of a sudden he's like 10.2. It's like hard to get over that hump of like paying 10.2 for him when you paying
imagine like buying like your favorite like drink, and then all of a sudden you go to the bar one day and they want like triple the price. You're just like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? You're like, wait, what?
Yeah, you're like, what the heck? I've been getting this for like $4 instead of like 10 now.
Yeah, exactly. It's you're right though. There is like that. You look at him differently now. Like, it's not his fault, but you almost resent the player. You're like, you've changed, bro. Like, it's not his fault. He didn't do it. But you look at him like, exactly. Nicholas, you bastard. You know what I mean? You bastard. But that is true. Last game of the night here, Cam. We got Tyler Mahle of the Cincinnati Reds visiting Walker Buehler of Patio Joe's Los Angeles Dodgers. Total here is 7.5. The Dodgers minus 200 home favorites. What are you doing with young Walker? Is he like your age, Walker Buehler?
I think he might be younger, honestly.
No way, dude. No way.
How young? Let me look it up.
I don't know, man. I mean, there's no way that he could be younger than you. They wouldn't let him in the league if he was younger than you, I think, Cam.
Dude, he might be younger than me. He's 23, so he is... Yeah, he's like a year older than I am.
There you go. I told you. But, I told you.
There are... Dude, it's weird. There's some of these, like when I'm watching pro basketball, I'm like, these dudes are younger than me, and they're, like, in the NBA. That's fucking weird. But, yeah, I think this game for me, I don't know, like, Buehler was okay when he was like $4,000, but I'm not gonna play him at 8.6 against the Reds. Like, he does have upside, like we saw it against the Padres, but that's like a nut matchup for right-handed pitchers, and going up against this Reds team, like I don't want to play him versus the Reds left-handed heavy lineup. They don't strike out all too much, I don't think. So yeah, for me, I'm just not gonna like really use Buehler tomorrow. I'll use some of these other guys we talked about, and he's more expensive than Miklos, so I'm not gonna go there. Yeah, I have interest in like Votto, Jeanette, Suarez, Duvall, even like a Tucker Barnhart if you're stacking, and then Jesse Winker at the top if he's in the lineup. I do like the Reds. They have a total of 3.1 runs tomorrow. I think that's too low. I think they're good for a little bit more than that. On the other hand, like Tyler Mahle hasn't been bad. He's had actually an increase in his strikeout stuff so far this year, and he's had a couple pretty good games in terms of strikeout output, but I don't think this is the spot for him where I'm going to really use him against the Dodgers. Definitely not the same Dodgers team, but do like maybe like a Grandal, do really like Cody Bellinger tomorrow, Matt Kemp, and like a Jock Peterson possibly, and Chris Taylor to round out the stacks if you want to go there. But yeah, I think tomorrow, like looking at the slate, doesn't seem like there's going to be a whole lot of like stacks that I really want to go and be like, oh, I'm going to stack all these teams, or like I like this stack, and this stack. It might be like the Rocky stack and then just pick off like plays from every game. Like I'm not seeing a whole lot of like games where I see it possible where these teams are just going to rip through a pitcher, you know? Like, I don't know. It's just, it's an interesting slate. I've never really gone through it and not seen like multiple teams that I really like.
Hey, no, I hear you, man. So tonight was kind of like that, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Walker Buehler 10-5. I'm with you. The Reds, now that they're healthy, not a team I typically like to pick on. They really don't usually strike out all that much. I know earlier this year we were able to pick on them. They were kind of banged up playing guys that didn't belong in the lineup, but they're all kind of healthy now. Don't know if I want to pick on them. I think Tyler Mahle's interesting. The Dodgers are a team you can pick on. I know Mahle does struggle against lefties, but he does have tremendous K upside. He gets a huge ballpark boost here being playing in LA. I have a hard time pitching guys in Cincinnati, but in LA it's a different story. I don't think I'm going to get there. There's too many guys around his price that I'm already interested in. I mean, Jose Barrios is only $200 more. But just going to throw it out there that I think he's interesting. But again, I don't think I'm going to get there either. We got too many guys in that and around that price range that I would rather play than take a chance on a Tyler Mahle against the Dodgers. So yeah, Walker Buehler, not really interested at 10-5. I think he's fine. I think he's a good pitcher. He's got some talent. He's pitching at home, which is nice. But he's also backed by a really good bullpen. So if the Reds kind of get to him early or get his pitch count up, he won't be pitching very long. So I'm concerned about the upside.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's going to do it for the Game of Game Breakdown. Before we do some top threes, I'm going to remind everybody, if you haven't already checked us out at wisestate.com, I do not know what you are waiting for. We are here. We are a DFS community designed to help make you a better player, help you with your daily picks, help you with your strategizing, all that good, awesome stuff. Sweating it out with you. Come join the community. A DFS community is what we are. We have a chat. We have a forum. All these different things for you guys to communicate, for us to interact with you. We do live streams 7 days a week, an hour and a half before lock, where after our guys have all done our research, obviously we do this show for free. This is just the first look. But tomorrow, come check us out about 5:30 Eastern, and we will have more in-depth coverage. All of our guys have done their research, giving their final takes on everything. We got guys writing articles. We got Cam doing cheat sheets for most main slates. We've got Johnny the Greek has been red hot with his Catch Game article. If you don't believe me, go check Twitter. He's just been red hot. We've got some awesome stuff going on for baseball, for NASCAR. We do a bunch. But if you're listening to this show, then I'm assuming you at least play baseball. And if you do, $2.50 will get you an MLB Day Pass. That's one full day of MLB access for you to come try us out. So there's no excuse not to try it. It's $2.50. You can afford it. Don't tell me you can't. Stop lying. If you're playing DFS, you can afford a day pass for $2.50 to come rock with the Wise Take Nation for a day. All right, time for some top threes, Cam. Top three pitchers, top three stacks. We'll do some dong watch. First up, top three pitchers. Who you got?
Mikolos, Barrios, and...
What are you, rapping to me right now? Making poetry to me right now? Okay.
It kind of sounded like it now that you mentioned
really
it.
You came hard too, man. You came real hard.
Wait for the. If you would have let me finish my rap, it would have been even better. Fulton Davis.
So say that. So wait, what'd you say?
Mikolos
Barrios.
Fulton Davis.
All right, awesome. I'm gonna go with Faulty as my number one option. I'll go with Barrios as my second, and then I'll go with a little Caleb Smith action. I don't like to pick on the Braves, but I really like that kid, man. All right, top 3 stacks.
I can tell.
Yeah, you know. He won me a lot of money a couple times. Oh, don't.
What are we doing?
Top 3 stacks, Cam. Top 3 stacks.
Rockies for me. Oh man, I literally don't even like any stacks. This is ugly because I just go back to that
first game that you don't like.
Yeah. Do I really want to stack Kansas City? I don't know. Rockies, Kansas City, and Toronto.
I will go Rockies. I will go D-backs, and I will go. I'm gonna have to do it. I'm gonna have to do it, man. I think I'm gonna have to go with the Royals as well, and I don't feel good about it. Or the Yankees. I could just say F it and go Yankees. I could do that. I'm going Yankees, man. Screw the Royals.
There you go.
Screw the Royals. Hate those guys, man. I hate them. I do.
Screw the Royals.
All right, dog watch now. Infielder, outfielder, utility. Who's your first pick?
Oh shit, Stanton. Sorry.
All right. See how it is, Cam. I'll go with. I don't know. I don't blame you. I'll go with Gary the Goat.
It was recency too, because you just mentioned the Yankees, so I was looking at
Put
them.
it in your head. Those are Yankees. You know what? Yankees.
Yeah. You like spoon fed me that one, so it's kind of your fault.
I didn't spoon feed you nothing, man. All right, go ahead, bro. Next pick.
Who'd you say?
I said Gary the Goat.
Oh, I didn't hear
Goat
you. Sneaky.
Sneaky AF.
Let's go Bellinger, just because I like him.
All right.
I hope he starts hitting.
All right. I will go with. Give me some David Peralta, man. Give me some David Peralta action.
David Peralta, I like that. I saw him too. This is tough when there's no one that I liked. Justin Smoke.
All right. I just got another text, this time from Paulie D, with Judge in all caps. So I will go with Judge for Paulie D. He knows his Yankees. I'll go with Judge. So
all right.
So that's how I'm going to counter your Stanton, is by taking 2 Yankees.
There we go.
All right. If you're watching on YouTube, please click that thumbs up, that like button, subscribe to the channel, get notified whenever we put out some cool free video. If you are watching us on Twitch, give us a follow. If you're watching on Facebook, please like and share to support the Wise Take Nation. If you're watching on Twitter, give us a retweet and a like. Give us a follow too at @wise_take. If you're listening on Podbean or iTunes, give us some 5-star reviews. Help bump us up those charts. Patio Joe. It's hysterical. Anyway, Cam, anything in closing for the nation?
Not much. Yeah, just join. I think we've had a pretty good baseball season so far to start the year. A lot of guys writing up a bunch of stuff, so there's a lot of information and just a lot of good guys to like read stuff from. Yeah. So yeah, like you said, 250. If you're playing DFS, listening to this, there's really no excuse to not just try it out. See if you like it, and then yeah, go from there. But this slate is going to be interesting tomorrow. I'm going to have to look into it more because first glance I don't see a whole lot that I love, but that's what we'll have to figure out, right?
That is that's about right. So for KamG333, for myself, the entire Wise Take Nation, as always, good luck.